January 1072. The Normans have just achieved their greatest triumph in Sicily. They have conquered Palermo, the island's most important city, from the Arabs. News of this momentous victory causes many neighboring Arab-ruled regions to capitulate, including Mazzara in the southwest. Although the Normans now dominate Sicily, pockets of resistance remain. Independent emirs still hold out at Trapani and Syracuse. But most importantly, Arab forces hold out in the strategically central fortress of Enna. Over the past 6 months, Serlo of Hautville, the nephew of Robert Guiscard and Roger of Hautville, has led a small force of Normans in guerrilla operations against Enna, isolating the fortress and preventing its Arab rulers from launching a counterattack. Serlo, who is a knight of considerable skill, has played a key role in the larger battle to subdue Palermo. With Palermo captured, the Normans begin laying out the feudal domains for the island's government. Robert Guiscard has already been invested as Duke of Sicily by the Pope, but he reserves for his personal rule only Palermo, half of Messina, and the mountainous northeastern territory of the Val d'Amone. The rest he hands over to his brother and right-hand man, Roger of Hautville, who assumes the title of Great Count of Sicily. Roger will directly hold any territory captured in the future from the Arabs. Serlo will hold a high position as one of Roger's chief lieutenants. But Serlo will not have long to enjoy his newfound prestige. In the summer of 1072, Serlo and a small force of his horsemen are patrolling near Nicosia when they are ambushed by a much larger Saracen cavalry. Seeing that they are hopelessly outnumbered, the young Norman commander and his men climb atop an enormous rock where they make a valiant stand against their attackers. Serlo and his companions cut down a large number of Saracens before they themselves are finally killed. It's a heroic final battle and a testament to Norman courage and valor. When news of Serlo's death reaches Palermo, Count Roger is devastated. Serlo is not only Roger's nephew, but his close friend and comrade in arms. Together, Roger and Serlo had overcome impossible odds against large Arab armies on numerous occasions, winning some of the most important early victories in the Norman conquest of Sicily. Even the stern old Robert Guiscard is deeply saddened by the loss of Serlo, widely considered to be the best of the young Norman knights. The site of Serlo's last stand is marked with a great cross and is known for centuries as the Rock of Serlo. During the siege of Palermo, Robert had been disturbed to learn of a rebellion breaking out in his mainland Italian territories. But he now learns that the uprising has mostly collapsed, and his lieutenants in Apulia and Calabria have the situation under control. Therefore, Robert remains in Palermo through the summer of 1072, working with his brother on the construction of great castles at Alcazar and at the harbor entrance at Alcalesa. The brothers also establish a Norman administration and garrison to govern the Saracen population. To maintain a sense of continuity with the conquered Arab regime, Robert gives his Norman governor in charge of the city the title of Emir of Palermo. A few days before he at last departs for the Italian mainland, Robert calls a meeting of Palermo's wealthiest Saracen citizens. He explains to them that the conquest of Palermo had been a most costly affair, especially in expensive war horses. Perceiving his meaning, the Saracen notables at once offer Robert a vast quantity of gold and horses. Robert, satisfied, bids farewell to his brother Roger and returns with his victorious army to his Italian domains. In a life of continuous achievement, this is perhaps Robert's proudest moment. He has gained what eluded both the Byzantine and Holy Roman emperors, Sicily, or at least the bulk of it. Robert Guiscard never returns to Sicily. The final conquest of the island is left in the capable hands of his brother, Roger, the great Count of Sicily. Among the Saracen princes who still rule at Trapani, Enna, and Syracuse, the death of Serlo is held up as a rallying cry for renewed resistance against the Norman conquerors. Roger is more than up to the challenge. Since his arrival from Normandy as a young man, Sicily has fascinated him. He is a lover of adventure, and he's looking forward to shattering the final outposts of Saracen resistance. But Roger is also a man of broad vision, and he recognizes great potential in Sicily, situated as it is at the heart of the Mediterranean, and shielded from the turmoil of mainland Italian politics by narrow straits. However, with Robert departed, Roger will have his work cut out for him. With only a few hundred knights under his command, Roger will need to employ his resources carefully. While he plans to isolate and harass the remaining Saracen-ruled outposts, he will pacify and remove any desire for rebellion in the Arabs living under his rule, permitting them to practice their religion and live under their own laws, so long as they remain loyal citizens. Indeed, many Saracens prosper under Norman rule, and many of those who initially fled to Africa at Palermo's fall returned to Sicily in the first 2 years of Roger's reign. Meanwhile, Roger encourages Italian and Lombard Christians from the mainland to settle in Sicily. Roger is also careful to cultivate the goodwill of his Greek Christian subjects. Not only does he fully endorse them in the continued practice of their language, liturgy, and traditions, but he personally finances the construction of new Greek churches and monasteries. Beautiful new structures are raised for the Orthodox community, and this attracts many Greek Christians from Italy, including monks from Calabria, who are welcomed by Roger as much-needed reinforcement to the Christian population. Thus, Roger proves to be one of the great early Norman statesmen, skillfully managing a varied Italian, Lombard, Greek, and Arab citizenry. The great Count presides over a colorful mosaic of cultures, faiths, and influences that will give 12th century Sicily much of its distinctive character. Although Roger's policies toward the various groups under his rule are clearly pragmatic, he does appear to be a man of sincerely broad interests. He admires Arabic architecture, and his interest in the Greek Church leads many of the Orthodox bishops who enjoy his patronage to feel that they might in fact have a chance at converting him to their right. However, Roger's placid domestic policy contrasts with his role as a fierce warrior chieftain along the borders of Norman territory, where guerrilla warfare rages between Roger's knights and Saracen resistors. The completion of Sicily's conquest is slowed by the fact that Roger must periodically return to Italy to help his brother Robert consolidate his rule on the mainland. In future videos, we will explore Roger's final adventures in the conquest of Sicily.
that I don't recognize. You are the ship